Hello guys, welcome back to my channel, and today we want to talk about the first summer signing of Manchester United, which is obviously Matheus Cunha. And as we all know, Matheus Cunha is actually a breed of Lautaro Martinez and Omar Mamouche. So guys, let's go into the tactical analysis of the first summer signing of Manchester United, Matheus Cunha. So guys, the first characteristics of Matheus Cunha we are going to be talking about is his goal scoring ability. So when we are talking about his goal scoring ability, we are going to be comparing it to other strikers and other players in the top 5 leagues, and you're going to find out that his XG per 90 minutes is actually very low. This is actually because he scores from low probability positions because of his natural ball striking ability. So this makes his XG to be dropped a little bit because he scores from unimaginable positions. He scores from deep positions. He's a player that actually drift down, pick up the ball because of his explosiveness, run towards defenders, and then strike the ball from long distances. So this is the kind of goals that Matheus Cunha scores. And Matheus Cunha can actually score variety of goals. He can score through corner kicks, through penalties, through free kicks. He can score basically every kind of goals through the near post, through the back post. So Matheus Cunha is a player that's actually very rounded when it comes to goal scoring. And if you actually look at the potential of Matheus Cunha is actually a player that can be able to score 20 goals in a season, actually in all competitions, if his abilities is actually maximized based on the system he's playing, and given the fact that he's going to also be playing with the familiar formation he was playing in Wolverhampton Wanderers, the 3-4-3 formation. So basically he's going to potentially bag like 20 goals a season in all the competitions for Manchester United. And so that's for the goal scoring of Matheus Cunha. So the next characteristics of Matheus Cunha we are going to be talking about is his dribbling. And from a dribbling perspective, actually Matheus Cunha is a very good dribbler. He's a dribbler that actually averages 5 dribbles per game with a success rate of 52%. So that tells you that Matheus Cunha is actually a very powerful dribbler. He's a very good progressor than Bruno Fernandes. He's a more consistent progressor than Bruno Fernandes. That's obviously one of the reasons why Rúben Amorim bought him for the left-hand position. And he's a player that actually lacks this elegance when it comes to dribbling in tight spaces, just like a Musiala kind of player that actually finds it very easy to glide in tight spaces, that has this flair, that has this elegance. But Matheus Cunha is obviously the player that lacks that little bit of elegance in his dribbling. He's not really a polished technician when it comes to dribbling, but he's an explosive dribbler. He's a dribbler that actually, instead of gliding through tight spaces consistently, he's a player that actually bundles into defenders with a very good shift of pace, with explosiveness, with power, and that makes it very difficult for him to be stopped by defenders. And most of the times when it comes to his dribbling inconsistencies, most of the times the ball is a little bit far away from his leg. The ball doesn't stick to his leg most of the times. And despite that deficiency in his dribbling ability, it also makes it even more difficult for defenders to be able to get hold of Matheus Cunha. So when it comes to the dribbling of Matheus Cunha, overall he's a very good dribbler, but he's more of an explosive dribbler than a polished technician. So talking about the next characteristics of Matheus Cunha, we are going to move to his creativity. When it comes to the creativity of Matheus Cunha, he's not really a surgical passer. He's not really a kind of a primary 10 chance creation machine. Matheus Cunha is just like a second striker chance creation player. He's a player that actually doesn't dominate possession. He's not a high volume chance creation player. He's actually a player that actually thrives on transition. Most of his chance creation actually comes from transition. When you demand of Matheus Cunha to create chances in a more stabilized defense, in a more organized defensive system, his chance creation rate often tends to drop. But when you ask Matheus Cunha to play in a team where their chance creation mainly comes from transition, mainly comes from when defenders are backpedaling, when the defensive system is a bit destabilized, then Matheus Cunha is a very big and a real asset when it comes to chance creation in transition teams. So when it comes to operating in tight spaces, taking the responsibility of playing surgical pass, surgical through balls. Matheus Cunha is definitely not that kind of player that can be able to play like a David Silva, like a Bruno Fernandes, like a Kevin De Bruyne. Absolutely not. He's like a second striker, chance creation player that thrives on transition and thrives on creating chances during transition. And if you look at the 3-4-3 system of Rúben Amorim, obviously we are going to be playing more of the transition football and also the possession-based football, or mostly the transition football. So that's basically how majority of the chances that Cunha is going to create is going to come from. So guys, talking about the possession and the link of Matheus Cunha. Matheus Cunha is actually not a kind of player that actually looks to dominate possession, as he averages 20 passes per game with a pass accuracy of 78%. That tells you that he's not that kind of David Silva or the Kevin De Bruyne that looks to dominate a larger part of the game or orchestrate a larger part of the game by having several touches of the ball. Matheus Cunha is obviously an explosive second striker that looks to inject pace, explosiveness, verticality into the game. He's a kind of player that likes to stretch the defenders, and his technique when it comes to possession is actually very swift. He uses a lot of foot rules, a lot of sweet combinations, a lot of flair. So when it comes to the position and the link up of Matheus Cunha, he's a very, very decent player. He's very tidy, he's very swift, but he's not the player that actually looks to have more possession of the game or looks to dominate a large portion of the game. So when it comes to the position and link up of Matheus Cunha, I'm going to say that he's pretty decent in keeping possession for the team. So guys, let's talk briefly on the headers of Matheus Cunha. When it comes to heading of Matheus Cunha, he's a very relatively poor player when it comes to header. He just managed over 24%. He only won 24% of his area deals last season in the Premier League. That tells you that he's a player that's actually not good in headers. He's a player that actually competes for every header. He competes with the player for every header. He competes with the defenders he's a player that actually makes life difficult for defenders, but he lacks that timing, that precision, that technique that usually elite headers like Erling Haaland would have. So when it comes to the headers of Matheus Cunha, he's a player that actually makes very swift movements in the box. He's actually around the box, causing a lot of havoc, a lot of chaos. But the most important thing that he doesn't get the execution right. He doesn't get that killer pass. He doesn't have that killer header technique. So that's one of the disadvantages of Matheus Cunha characteristics. He's not actually a good header. So when it comes to the header of Matheus Cunha, he's a relatively poor player when it comes to heading of the ball. So guys, let's go over to the last characteristics of Matheus Cunha and let's go over to the profiling board. So when you're going over to the profiling board, you're going to find out that Wolverhampton Wanderers also is playing the kind of 3-4-3 formation that Manchester United and Rúben Amorim plays in. So when it comes to tactically, if Matheus Cunha is suited to Manchester United, absolutely he's suited to Manchester United because he was playing under similar formation, and so he's going to help probably in the midfield because he's a player that actually likes to drop deep and then drive to dangerous pocket spaces, drive to dangerous position. Maybe he might strike from long distance or he might create from long distance, and he's also a player that actually likes to make a lot of aggressive and purposeful runs behind. I could imagine a situation whereby a player like Mazraoui or Lenny Euro with that long pass can be able to find Matheus Cunha in whenever he's making an Indian rush or whenever he's making any kind of strong and purposeful kind of runs behind the box. So when it comes to what Matheus Cunha is going to bring to Manchester United generally, he's going to inject a lot of pace in the attack. He's going to inject a lot of pace in transition. He's going to help in chance creation. He's going to help in goal scoring. And when it comes to the work rate of Matheus Cunha, he has a very, very wonderful work rate, as all Brazilians normally do. He has a very animalistic strength, so that is going to help in the pressing structure and the pressing organization of Manchester United. As you know, Rúben Amorim likes to press with his three forwarders in the front, so that is actually going to help Manchester United a lot because the work rate of Matheus Cunha is actually very, excellent. So it is also going to help in making Manchester United to win a lot of balls in the final third. So that's for the tactical analysis of Matheus Cunha. I'm also going to be dropping a video about the tactical analysis of Bryan Mbeumo and how Bryan Mbeumo is going to elevate the Manchester United team and the Manchester United attack. So see you guys, stay tuned for that video. I would like you guys to like, to share, and to subscribe to this video. Very importantly, I'm going to see you guys in my next video. Ciao.